Welcome to 5 Games, 5 Minutes from acornelectron.co.uk. Moon Buggy is a game where you have to keep on trucking across the surface of the moon, which with its craters, flying saucers and miniature tanks is a very dangerous place. Set against a bouncy little background tune, the game sort of throws a succession of obstacles at you, and if you survive it calms down for a while to let you get your breath back. There are 5 zones to trundle through, and, rather surprisingly, the difficulty doesn't seem to get greater as you progress. Indeed, the first zone, with all of the craters that litter it, is one of the most difficult zones of the whole game. As you progress further, you'll find bridges with missing sections too. In the very final zone, you have to jump over craters which also house rockets, although few players will get that far. Various aspects of Moon Buggy are nice. It's colourful, and it runs at a fair speed. The real problem is with the collision detection. It's just far too difficult to accurately time your jumps, and one pixel out and you blow up. I should point out though, even though it's not great, for a Kansas City software game, it's surprisingly professional. TERRORMOLINOS describes itself as a, quote, hilarious adventure set on the Costa del Sol, unquote. Its observations are a bit dry, so hilarious is really pushing it. You play a harangued husband forced to take his 2 children and wife on a package holiday. You start off in your house and you have to do the last minute packing. Then you hire a taxi, catch the plane, find your hotel and go on a few excursions. The holiday you embark upon is rather more exciting than you might expect. You get attacked by sharks when you hire a paddle boat, and you end up taking over from the matadors at the bull ring. If all that sounds rather inviting, I'm afraid that those are the highlights. Much of the so-called action is actually just about collecting up your possessions and your family, over and over again. The game is also merciless at killing you off if you dare to go to certain locations without your family. I mean, this is really annoying, because then you have to start all over again from the very beginning. Being kind to the game, it does essentially capture the feel of a Spanish package holiday. However, this type of game really needed graphics to be a success. These days there won't be too many people who haven't encountered Tetris on one format or another already. The Acorn Electron version is Tetris in its earliest ever incarnation. Yes, you might think Tetris belongs to the same era as Space Invaders and Ping, but you'd be wrong. The game has a nice loading screen, and after that it's identical to the standard game everyone knows and loves. You guide the blocks left and right, and drop them by pressing the Z key. The idea is to rotate them so you can create complete vertical sections of wall. The game gets faster and faster until you've made too many bad drops to be able to continue. The idea is just to get the highest score you can. There's a rather useful speed up command on the Electron version, which helps if you choose to start on a ridiculously easy level first time around. Tetris is obviously a game that anyone can play, and it's just as insanely addictive on the Electron as anywhere else. It's almost impossible to restrict yourself to a single game. Obviously this isn't the best version of the game that there ever was. It's the only one on the Electron, and it's quite good. Guardian is Alligata's rather nifty conversion of the classic arcade game Defender. You're in control of a light aircraft above a horizon of hills. The aim is to protect the humanoids at the base of the screen. The green landers will attempt to pick these up and carry them to the top of the screen. If this happens, the lander mutates and zeroes in on your position like a homing missile. There are a host of other aliens to avoid, including bombers, pods and swarmers, which are described in the instructions but not illustrated. I'm not quite sure which one is which, but still, all can be dispatched with trusty laser fire. The trouble is that some of them, I guess the pods, explode into 8 smaller nasties when you hit them. Guardian is paced at a nice even level of difficulty, meaning it's challenging enough to play. On level 4 you're dealing with several hundred or so aliens, so it's ultimately impossible to get much further than that. But you do sort of feel at least like trying. The smart bombs are a nice feature too. I've never had a lot of time for Felix and the Fruit Monsters, Micropower's hideous crossbreed of Felix in the Factory and Snapper. You're supposed to protect the pieces of fruit that float around the maze. If all the fruits get eaten, that's not even just one life gone, that is complete game over. There are 3 ways to protect the fruit. The first is easy, hit the magnet pad. This draws all of the monsters back to their box in the centre of the screen, but it can only be used 3 times. Second way is to pick up the fruit and move it somewhere else. This definitely protects you from complete game over, because if you're carrying a piece of fruit, the monsters can't find it and eat it. The third is to drop ether pools to slow down the monster's progress. You have to stay alive until the time bar at the top of the screen goes down to 0. Now these are all original ideas, but the game that results from them is completely bizarre. It's downright impossible to stop the monsters eating the fruit, and using the pools only slows them down for about 3 seconds. On top of that, the game is difficult to control into the bargain. I've given this game chance after chance, but I still come away from it baffled as to how to develop any kind of winning strategy.